make it HOT6 GSL. My conscience is telling me.
What's up, Wolfie?
What's up, Tasteless?
Not much, man.
We're seeing a one-sided series here, but Blaze was able to take that third game, keep him alive in this series with a, you know, a well-executed all-in. She relied on a lack of scouting information from sleep. Very aggressive, kind of cheesy, but still reasonable considering the map and the positions. But I don't like his chances here, man. I feel like Sleep's going to close this out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most interested now. This is not normally something I'd say, but I'm most interested in seeing if the consistency remains with style of play here from Blaze. In that I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's been playing the best of 5 wrong. I am happy to eat my words if he wins this whole series, but right now I'm looking at it, I don't know what you think, but I'm looking at like, gosh, it seems like as long as Sleep is careful early every game, you know, then Blaze is not going to, honestly, just going to run into a wall, basically.
Yeah, I feel like he's playing this like he's playing an open bracket, DreamHack or open bracket MLG. It's just like, I'll take every game.
Yeah.
Like, this
so
doesn't
exactly,
feel like,
yeah. It's just,
it doesn't feel like my Code S life is on the line. This feels like I'm just going to sit down and take each game as I feel it. You know
it almost seems like he has one build for each map, and he just does that build on each map.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, that was the order, so this is what I did. I don't know. We'll see. Game number 4 is loading up. Blaze against Sleep in the GSL. In the bottom right, in the red. Oh, I forgot to say Blaze. Sorry, I zone out of this part. In the upper left, in the blue,
KT Roaster Sleep. You know what's funny is I heard the Korean commentator say it behind you, and for some reason I thought it was like in our game as well.
Yeah, no, that happened to me the first time we did this. So if you guys are just joining us, Blaze had an ID change. He was originally panicked, but he came down to the studio today and said that he changed his ID. We haven't actually had anybody change their ID in a little while. But, you know, you've got to respect the player's wishes, so, you know, that's what we did. So we didn't throw up his older ID panic.
Right.
But then Tasteless dropped the ball.
That's okay.
And didn't say Blaze.
This looked like initially it was going to be a Cannon sort of opener. It's a 2-player map. It's one of our newer maps, Terraform, so pretty short rush distance. A really good map for cannoning.
Wolf.
Going to be gold-based.
Gold-based, like. Boys.
And it's going to actually be able to block this Nexus as well at the same time. Maybe this is the reason why we don't see it cannoning, because if you go to cannon the natural and he just takes the gold instead, you're like, well, oops. Like, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually true. That would be interesting, actually. I'd like to cast a game like that. Nexus goes down. Nice placement there.
Yeah. It's actually quite annoying. Any Pro S player will tell you when a drone comes to your base. Remember in Wings of Liberty when every game was played with like a 3-gate sentry expand, and you had to place your cybernetics core perfectly, or else you would basically lose the game in that one drone in your base, and you're like,
yeah, I do.
Well, I guess now I have to make an extra pylon or something. My whole wall is screwed. My cyber core is so late, like, and it's actually in a terrible spot.
You know, I know a lot of people complain about Protoss, but one thing you cannot deny is that there's like so many ways you can get screwed in placement. Like the structure placement, you're like, well, like even in the early days of like back in Brid, where you're like, oh, okay, well, I gotta wall this off.
When people
and I guess I have to put this core here, but I mean, God, if he gets Hydras in range, which Brid, or like anything else, like if he gets Lings over here and just gets it, it's like I am.
It's over, man.
And then you got to memorize every single placement for everything on each map, which is already a bit of a headache. Oop. Sees the drones going down here now.
But you know, I always actually people ask me. A lot of people ask me, it's like usually casual fans or like people interviewing me or something, they say, why do you think that it seems like more people watch StarCraft than play it? I'm like, have you ever had a Zealot on the hold position or you thought it was? And he made 20 Lings and like they should never ever get through. But the Zealot kind of bugged out, so like you lost the game, but you shouldn't have lost because you did everything right, but the Zealot just moved slightly and you lost. I'm like, that's why. That's why people watch this game and not play it.
I'm going to say something controversial but completely true. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Drop the bomb, Tasteless.
StarCraft's bad for you, man. This game makes you so mad. No, seriously, I think it's like I love StarCraft so much, but I definitely like I in personal experience, man. When you've just lost like so many games, you're like, oh God, I feel horrible. I feel so inadequate.
You know, I usually, you know, during the summer, I have my window open. I don't use my air conditioning that much. And when I play StarCraft, that's like after 2 games when I realize I don't have my AC on, I'm like, whoa, it's really hot in here.
Oh,
Turn that on.
Do you get like, does your face heat up when you lose? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Sam, when I lose, I'm like, oh, I'm so salty. Like, I can't believe that happened. I was doing fine until I didn't have my screen over this one thing. But
it's unforgiving, this game, for sure.
It's brutal.
It's not for everybody.
I think that a lot of people get stressed out when they play, and I don't want to say just one-on-one games, by the way. I want to say it's actually games like, specifically RTS games, where you can have a 20-minute game.
Yeah.
It's not, look, people get salty in Street Fighter, okay, but that you just queue up another one, let's go again. I have a chance to try to take a game off you the next time.
You know what? In RTS, oftentimes the game is decided by just one moment.
Yeah.
And that's different from a MOBA or a fighting game. It's usually kind of this build-up the entire time where you start to lose slowly. Whereas sometimes it's like, okay, I lost the fight, I lose. We're going to have a big attack here, by the way, which Blaze is adequately preparing for here. His Mothership Core is already out. He has identified this, and he's making an extra cannon. 16 more links. This is super all-in by Sleep, actually, and Blaze knows it's coming. He doesn't have his Stargate ready yet, and he only has 1 gateway currently, so that's a problem. And you know what? He's going to be hard-pressed on a tight wall here to hold this. He finishing this off.
He does tear that down. Well, nice micro in back into the Sentry. He has to keep trying to wall this in.
He holds, I think.
Decent SimCity here. He's going to go for the gateway, though. And I think the actual scary part is that he doesn't have, well, hold up, other Sentry out here.
And 2 more cannons. The gateway, if he targeted the gateway earlier, I think he would have a much better chance.
Yeah,
that would stop the
I agree completely. Yeah, I think the pylon, it was obvious what he was going to get the pylon down. So this one, yeah, I mean, Protoss holds, I think you're right, but then again, it's also really, it's a tough one to call, you know?
Well, he doesn't know the build time as well. Like, he doesn't know the Sentry's about to pop out or if it's, like, just started, so it might be folly to attack the gateway in that case, and it just pops out anyways. You wasted so much DPS, you wasted so much time. Sleep is continuing to just make this an all-in. He's now at half the workers that Blaze has. Mind you, one of those is at a gold base, but still.
Whoa!
GG.
Whoa.
He doesn't even try. Well, these two are just
These two are just tap out dudes, man.
I feel like I'm just watching, you know, all in after all in.
We don't finish the race here. Somebody gets ahead and the guy turns off the ignition of the car and gets out, walks off the track, man.
This is like,
well, I mean, Blaze might win this. We didn't really get to see what Blaze had in store for us since, you know, the way that strat works. Zerk tries to seize the moment and dictate the game, and really it's up to Protoss to weather the storm and still make probes. And we're now going to go to the 5th game.
Cactus Valley is going to be the final map. Cactus Valley, the only other map that really rivals the size of GSL Iron Fortress. So a very big map, another 4-player map. And to be totally frank, I feel like Blaze is going to try to all in by hiding information again because of this 4-player map. Because the Overlords is tough to scout with. I think that we're probably going to see him play that way because that's how he's playing. By the way, do you get the feeling that Blaze kind of reminds you of Ryung? They have a similar face. Do you get that feeling?
Yeah, now that you say that, I can see that. Yeah, they actually do look similar.
I was like, it reminds you of somebody. Who is it? It's Ryung.
I mean, I don't know. This has been an interesting starting series here today. Blaze might just win this.
By the way, it's very rare in history of all Code A's for a series to go to the final game in our new format. Even rarer to see a best of 5 go to a game 5 in Code A. It's very rare. But this has not been like a super technical. I would actually go as far as say this has not been a good series, but it's going to game 5.
No, it's not been a good series. You're right. It is game 5. But you know, let's see. I think after seeing the way these two guys are playing, I'd say they're pretty low contenders for Code S.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to be proven wrong, though.
But you know what? They make it a Code S. There's a lot of money in that first round and a lot of WCS points, so this is still very important. Even if they lose in the round of 32, very, very important. The prestige as well.
Absolutely. Cactus Valley is loading up. Another one of our newer maps. I think you were probably right, Wolf, that we could have some sneakiness coming out here. When you get a map this big, a lot of ways you can try to punish your opponent, hiding information. Let's see if that happens here and now in what it will be the last game between these two, deciding who will be knocked out of this tournament and who will move on to that Code S.
Let's make it hot.
In the upper left, in the red, with the new ID, Blaze. in the bottom right, the blue.
KT Roaster Sleep.
I feel tasteless. These positions are really good for Blaze to do another all-in. It's going to be very difficult for the Zerg to scout him with Overlords. And he's already shown us that he's quite good at all-ins. It's not going to be something that lasts him in his career for like a long time, right? It's not going to get him to. It's not going to get him out of a group of the round of 16. It's not going to get him out of the round of 32 even necessarily, right? In Code S.
It's one step at a time, right? And I mean, that's all you can do. I think that one of the biggest mistakes, especially in StarCraft, but I think just kind of in general, is that, you know, if you want to be the best, or you know, it's something you can't just say I want to be the best. You actually sit there and practice it over and over and over and over and over to a degree you're almost insane.
Yeah.
And I think you also have to do it as everything step at a time, one step at a time. Excuse me. You can't just say I'm going to be a pro gamer and win GSL. And I think you have to say I'm going to try to be the best StarCraft player I can be. I'm going to try to win this match. Go, okay, I want to. My goal now. I would love to at least advance out of the round of 32.
It takes,
step by step.
It takes a long time. You can't just say, well, if I lose 3 more hours of sleep every night practicing, then I will be as good as Classic. Then I will be as good as Rain. No, you won't, actually. It takes a lot longer than that.
Also, you know, it's really about utilizing the time correctly when you do practice, when you do have matches.
At the highest level,
This is actually,
absolutely.
you know, because, you know, my brother, who had more success than me in Brood War, I look back at that and I realized he utilized the time a little bit better. Like the way he would practice, you know, like, and what strats he would practice, where I just tended to grind a little bit more. And obviously, if you just practice certain parts of builds, certain theories, cover certain maps,
certain like answers to your build, you know, look into that a little bit deeper.
Right, exactly. You can prepare a little bit better.
That's why you see such great, especially Pro-Ops players, I feel, in StarCraft 2. You can see so many great players like MC, who's actually commentating right behind us.
Let's talk about that, guys. But MC is in the studio right now casting. Chisato's out of town.
Yeah.
JYP is here casting, and this just once again proves that if you're going to be a caster, you have to have played Protoss a lot. Yeah.
But, you know, going back to MC and what I was saying and on this topic, you know, you've got a player like MC. He was one of the best players, even in the very beginning of the open seasons, like Season 3, where he won his first championship, his first title. He was one of the best players at doing an all-in and transitioning out of it, because he knew that it could just be blindly countered or directly countered, and he knew what to do next in every situation. You see this little pylon block here by Blaze.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
And he actually might try to gateway this. Cybercore's a better choice. Let's see if he's smart enough to do it. Oh, gonna get another pylon.
Got wet feet there. Cold feet. Is it cold feet or is it wet feet? Wait, what?
I'm like, he put a wet blanket on his head.
It's cold feet. I'm like, he got wet feet there, guys.
Well, you really got his feet wet on that one.
I can't say everything right, guys. Is this...
I think this is worth it. He's punishing...
Yeah, but I mean, the expansion just makes it at the bottom, right? Like, for the shape of this map, is that actually good? I don't know. Maybe he's got another weird time that's based off hitting that bottom third base, but I don't know. You lose money when you cancel those pylons, man.
He's punishing the fact that he only made 2 lings, and perhaps whatever strategy he wants to do is stronger against this position. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, if you look at that third base he's taking right now, it's got a high ground where you can reinforce from. So if he's going to do like an Immortal all-in with this, that makes sense. But on the other side of things, there's basically the same sort of structure to reinforce from at the third base he was blocking. I think he was just trying to see if Sleep was not going to make another hatchery, just get really behind. I don't think it was a bad choice.
You know who has the answer? SOS would know.
He would know.
He would know exactly. He's got those builds so timed out.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
I can't believe that got him. That's huge. He sees the robo. Much less doubt cast here in the mind of Sleep.
I mean, that's game changing. If he doesn't see this, he has no idea. This is the problem with the all-in that worked last time.
Hold the phone.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, no.
No. He didn't get the ling?
I mean, can you imagine your Code S life is determined
No, I know, right? Like,
you're not going to
This is like, this happened, you know, you like right-click the ling all the way down there because you're like, well, you know, I'll make him chases. And when it actually lives, you're like, okay. Oh. So much salt. So much
actually, I don't know if he saw that Warp Prism.
I'm not sure, actually.
It's really hard to say. But either way, he's got the response for Warp Prism because he knew it was a robo.
And now he really knows Zuma by an overlay. This is actually a really bad feeling when you play Protoss when you're trying to do this and you're just everything is being spotted as you're going.
Yeah, it's like you're hiding behind the curtain, but you know your feet are showing. You know, it's like, oh god,
it's actually a good way to put it. Yeah,
it's like I hope this still works. Like, I hope he just wasn't looking that closely at the curtain. He just didn't expect me to hide there. Like, now I'm going to do an Immortal follow-up to this Sentry drop, which isn't what I wanted to do, but maybe he'll overcommit and I'll have an economic lead, which I can follow up with extra gates. Like, he's grasping at straws right now. Let's see what he can get done. This spine is not ready. He's just going to ignore it, though, and looks like go for drones instead.
Yeah, he's going to come up here now. Nice force field there. Queen just not quite able to squeeze out. But more Lings are coming up here. Now, he does get the Spine Crawler. That's pretty huge.
Really good Warp Prism Micro here. Picking up the weakened Zealots, the weakened Sentries, rather, I should say. Warping an extra Zealots and dealing with just straight-up Lings here.
Oh, my God.
The Queen is so low. Queen is so low. Just going to go down. The Warp Prism does not.
Question is, does this attack actually continue onward? I mean, he got the Queen?
I think he should continue to attack, yeah.
Well, let's see how this goes. Keep in mind that the Warp Prism is really low.
The key here, Taste today, has a pylon on the way as well. If he didn't have the pylon...
yeah, excuse me, there's a pylon at the upper left.
If he didn't have a pylon, this would be way too risky, and I think he'd need reinforcements, but because he has this pylon here, he's about to have, boom, like another warp in. Well, actually, now he's pushed back, but... He's just going to follow this up. Oh, what? What is that structure? We don't see that current competitive play. Nobody makes Colossi in this update.
Oh, well, I guess he's got to do something, right? You got to have plan B. I don't feel like the strategy was quite as effective. This, I think, is going to be a pretty long PvZ here.
It certainly could be, but this is going to be interesting because how does Sleep choose to deal with this? Vipers are so popular right now, and they're dealing with Colossi so handedly that I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like this isn't a good move in the current meta. But it could throw Sleep off. The reason why Colossi were being so used in the Heart of the Swarm for a long time, even with Vipers, was because Swarm hosts were so rampant, and you need Colossi to deal with that.
Well said.
And now we don't have Swarm hosts really in the game, nor the base been patched out. So there's...
It's not as bad as when we went for the Void Rays, but it's the same thing where, you know, I'm like, well, you know, Zerk does have an answer for this.
Yeah. It definitely could be surprising if it doesn't get scouted, but he's already going down the tech towards Vipers. He's actually going to be able to force a cancel on this. Perhaps it's pretty far along. Doesn't have that many force fields. Okay, he's actually going to save this. That's important because if he had lost that, this would have been disastrous. He would not be able to afford the Colossi he's currently making. Get range out, for example, which he's definitely going to want to get as soon as he can afford it. So that was a good move to be able to save that. Quick reaction there. Okay, is he going to drop? What's in that Warp Prism? He's got 3 Zealots in there. Okay, so not committing to like Sentries anymore. Just Zealots alone, maybe trying to force a cancel on that fourth base.
Yeah, I think you just stay back here in power. Sleep doesn't have any vision, right, of the Colossus tech, right?
I'll check that.
Let's check on... Wolf's got the preview PC here today,
He
guys.
does actually see that Robotech.
Okay, he does see it.
He is rushing Vipers out as quickly as possible, so perhaps Blaze can hit a timing before Vipers are ready. And mind you, not only does he have to have the Infestation Pit and then the Hive, then build the Viper, which doesn't have the quickest build time, but then it has to use Consume to get enough energy. It takes a long time, so he might be able to hit a timing to kill the 4th base before they're ready. But otherwise, you know, Sleep is doing all the right things. It's just an issue of timing here. Can he hit before that's ready?
Also, 5th base on this map, it's pretty far out.
Yeah. And you don't mean that like a surfer dude, like it's pretty rad.
Pretty gnarly, man.
Yeah, its distance is quite far, yeah.
Indeed.
The Warp Prism is definitely going to be shut down should it commit here. I mean, I think he's like the biggest Hydra army ever.
Yeah, I think he's waiting to see if Zerg's going to move out, and then okay, he gets out.
Good map awareness.
That's scary, man. Flying over these giant cacti.
The Cactus Valley.
The Valley of Cactuses, man.
Yeah. I wonder actually if, based off what we're seeing here, the Blink, the +2, and the Temple Archives, he has 2 options with what he's choosing. One is to just simply take a 4th base and use High Templar to feedback and get Storm, or potentially he could be trying to hit with Storm and still do an attack just off the 3 bases with +2 and the Blink.
You know, one thing you can do that's kind of cool here is you could push out with just 1 Colossus and you like hallucinate 2 or 3, and then you back up, and that way they overmake Vipers. That's one neat thing that can happen. It's not happening this time, but man, I don't always get to say that often in this matchup, so I had to get it out there. He's going to go for this.
This is pretty smart.
Just right-clicking right there on the hatch, and I'm not entirely sure if Sleep... No, yeah, Sleep will get down there and take that save that in time. But
he had a spine as well. It was a good move if he was going to send, you know, if he was going to wait till they moved out, which I think he must have thought was actually occurring. He doesn't have the watchtower, so he couldn't know. Either way, I mean, I think he's going to just simply attack, as I mentioned before, with Storm, Blink, +2, all these 5 gates he's adding right now. He is producing now his 3rd Colossus, but it's been gooped, actually. It's been slowed down by this this Overseer. He's used that Contaminate ability, which is going to further hurt this strategy, going to further weaken this push. Spines are coming up. Sleep has read him like a book, man, and he knows the final chapter. As long as he gets Broodlords out, it's a happy ending.
Yeah, he read the last page of the book maybe before he even started it, which is the worst way to read a book, by the way. But
yeah, it's terrible.
You know, I think all that Sleep has to do is keep. Oh, I was not actually going to say he needs to do this. I thought he would wait for Protoss to leave, and then he would just come in and keep doing counterattacks until eventually he exhausts the Protoss.
I do not think he's expecting Storm to be ready. Storm is the big crux here. He's got so many Templar to feedback. Well, look at that feedback. If Storm was not ready, this would have been a great attack. But unfortunately, it gets pushed back. And this allows him to get that 3rd Colossus, but he's now getting Corruptors. You know, this buys him some time. These Hydras are not as valuable versus this comp. And this starts to look like a Wings of Liberty PvZ, basically. You know, minus the fact that he has Vipers, but then they just got blown up by feedback, so they're gone now. We're going to see Corruptors and Broodlords as the answer to this composition. He's going to have +3 for Hydras, by the way, and Roaches, which he has 33 of, as well as +1 for Lings and Broodlings. See in just a minute.
When you watch this game, one thing that's really important to note is right now the Zerg's army is pretty easy to remake. Protoss's is not. Yep. If he loses his army, it's really tough to regroup from there. We have the Broodlord tech starting up here, and I mean, this is going to be done in time.
It's actually just going to trade out some of this supply that's not as valuable. We'll stop mining here. Get his spines up. The Broodlords have been scouted, and to be totally frank, I'm not sure what Blaze's answer is going to be for that. He has Blink, but blinking Stalkers underneath Broodlords when the spines are already this setup is going to be difficult. But on the other hand, using the Broodlords to move out on the map outside of the creep, outside of the safety of his spine crawlers is not going to be easy either. And this is a type of game that we almost never see anymore in Korea. So let's see how these two players are.
This is a series that we don't have anymore in Korea. This has been a very, very different than what we're used to. You know, it's just been a very different StarCraft II series. I'll just put it at that. He's going to come forward now and try to engage. The Broodlords should be able to drive this out. But let's see. I mean, you know, you get the right storms, you get the right blinks underneath those Broodlords. If the Zerg's army's not there, I mean, this is very punishable. But yeah. Sleep is just turtling really hard right now.
15 Hydras on the way. He's just decided to remax with that for now. These Broodlords are going to make it very difficult to engage. You really want to blink into that many spines? I don't think so.
Yeah, you can see he's actually bringing the Broodlords out in front, almost hoping that maybe...
he's hoping for that blink.
Yeah, that he'll blink under that.
These Time Warps are totally useless, basically. You know, they're not even really hitting very much. He's actually going to blink forward here. And a huge group of Roaches and Hydras comes on the left side. Broodlords, I think there's just too many. He's taken out most of the anti-air. Even though the ground army dies, Blaze can't finish this off.
There's not enough Stalkers here. He does push him back just slightly here, but I think with an extra regroup right now, he might be able to engage us again here. The Stalkers blink forward, though.
They blink forward, but there's too many Hydras.
There's just so many Hydras down here, and they deal damage so quickly. It looks like Protoss is barely going to be pushed out. A close call there by Sleep, but that's all that. That's all Sleep needed to do, really.
This is the final chapter. We just saw the climax of the story. Now we're going to get into the epilogue. Here
oh, you beat me to it. I was going to make an epilogue joke. This
is the part where we find out that like Sleep actually had like a son that he named after like one of his favorite characters in the series. It's like not that exciting. It's not that you know, not that interesting, but people will read it because they want to read more.
Because they want to read more.
They're like, maybe there's some foreshadowing. Maybe there'll be a sequel. There's no sequel. This is Game 5.
Hold on a second. The counterattack might actually not work for Sleep.
Well, not if he gets his Broodlords out of position because his Observer is watching.
Look at this.
This Observer is so important. It might be a game changer here. 3 Broodlords are picked up. Now he's going to retreat and kill these Queens. Still going to lose a lot of expensive Stalkers. He has no 4th base, but that was the best he could have hoped for here.
Oh, nice coming up here from Sleep. Just caught the tail end of this. 4 Hydras hitting these probes.
He's actually, I think, burrowed those over here. I don't know how they got over there. He has burrows, so maybe he was hiding those. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see those Hydras up there. That was definitely the right idea, though. Just to keep Protoss slowed down here. Keep Blaze lagging behind. You can see that main is got 1 mineral patch, and that's going to be mined out in a second or 2 here. So there's not actually very much that Blaze can do. And if Sleep, you know, I guess keeps throwing wrenches in the gears, if you will, I think Sleep should win this. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I mean, look at the production tab. Look at the lack of production for Blaze, whereas Sleep is like making 6 Broodlords and getting +2. He's got a burrowed roach to stop a 4th base. He still has 6 spine crawlers on the map to support him. He has 18 hydras and 22 roaches, and he's going to come over here again, not even with any burrow tricks, but just 2 roaches to just kind of go, well, we all annoy you, I'll buy more time to build this mega Zerg army.
It's kind of funny that he hasn't had a cannon or anything like that up in that corner, because this whole wall-in that Protoss doesn't matter if Zerg gets over there.
Yeah.
They have to actually be locked out, or they can just do this to you all day.
Look at
2 Stargates.
Yeah, look at the response here. Stargate, I think he's going to try to go Tempest, but I don't think he can afford that. Look at...
They're just burrowed.
Yeah. And the probe is blocked by... he has 1 observer on the map, but the 4th base is blocked by 1 roach, and in fact, he's just going to unburrow it and kill the probe. You guys aren't seeing this on screen, but just goes over and kills the probes and a further delay that 4th base. Look at that.
Yeah, there he goes. Ninja Vanish.
Where's the observer?
Cannons and observers are good. Does he have one out?
He has an observer to deal with the roaches, but he doesn't have one to deal with the roach that's blocking his 4th base.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, that's all Blaze really has to do. Keep his opponent slowed down enough. Or Sleep has to do to Blaze, excuse me.
There's the fleet beacon. He is just going to try to counter this comp. And as soon as this gets scouted by Sleep, all he does is have to just make a few more Vipers because the Tempest count's going to be too low.
Oh, we have a blink away here in the middle of the map. Not a bad idea though, to just keep those stalkers out there in case you can, catch any units, since they are able to escape pretty easily.
A few Zealots is not going to deal with 8 roaches either. He just threw those Zealots away. Finally brings the rest of his army back. This is allowing Sleep to get into good position. The one thing that's a bit lacking, I guess, for Sleep when he's doing a comp like this is creep spread. To make the rest of his roaches a lot stronger to actually support this, and also he could push spines up with this. But this is not a normal situation, as I said before. Wow, it finally pushes the roaches back, and then he's come over and deny the base again.
I feel like Blaze is really just kind of like ran out of fuel here.
Yeah.
I mean, he just seems slowed down every way. You can see he's getting the Tempest a bit late. I think there's plenty of time for Sleep to do actually a variety of different plays here.
Is he still not dealing with this roach at this 4th base? Is this real life, Tasteless? Like,
this is better than real life in StarCraft, man.
He actually still has not dealt with that 1 roach at his 4th base. Now he has, but he's going to lose his 3rd. He's just simply crumbling, man, under the pressure.
It's so bad to lose it this time too. The main's already mined out, so you really don't have any resources coming in.
The positioning,
probes can't super saturate on mineral patches. So I mean, you just are going to get such a small number of resources at this phase of the game.
The positioning of these Broodlords here with this little rock and this little ramp here going to make it impossible to really blink under efficiently onto this many Hydras. The retreat here is difficult, but he has so much bank, can remax with whatever he wants. He's just going to engage this.
Yeah, you're exactly correct on that, because he has such a high number of Vespian gas and minerals. I mean, if he wanted to, he could even just go straight into 20 mutas or something.
Look at this sling counterattack at the 4th base that will never, ever get made, I guess, in this game.
Is he gonna
He's targeting it. They have +1.
Oh, so close. And
he saves it.
What?
And that's with +2 actually just finished, down to like 80 hit points.
Yeah, so close.
This is right now Blaze's toughest game, man. He's having so much trouble, but he's surviving, and as long as he's alive, he can try to keep his hope alive in this game, but the Broodlord composition is really just so slow.
Problem is too is it like he. I mean, Broodlord comp's slow, but if he loses that, he could switch right back into Roach Hydra if he wants.
He could also perhaps switch to Mass Mutas if he builds enough. Storm is out. There is a big Blink Stalker comp. He is going to go with Vipers. There are only 3 Tempests on the map, so Vipers, if he can pull those and target them down, are going to obviously just end the game. So it's all about control here, and like, you don't want to be having your Tempests at the 3rd base all alone. That's not where they want to be if your Zerg moves out, so he needs to be careful with those. Obviously, it's fine that he had him there at that exact moment, but they need to be together. They need to be well protected because they are his lifeline. They're actually what's keeping him alive in this game. Just that tech that he has, the counter to the Broodlords.
Roach is coming up now.
I love how much he's been able to get done with these Roaches, these Hydra run-bys. It's actually really quite impressive. He's going to split them into several directions.
Yeah, but he's
always going to try to get the Nexus.
Barely saved here. I mean, Blaze I can't really feel bad for him getting harassed as much. He needs the defenses there. It's really not hard to do this. Like, he just burrows and burrows up. But I think that the harass has been good enough that really there's just not much that I don't know. There's just not much I think Blaze can really do this game. I think we might have the killing blow.
Yeah.
Right over here.
If he just hits one wave of Brewlings on the Nexus, it dies. So there's that. These Corruptors are missing.
Yeah. This is weird. He needs those Corruptors there.
And the Viper as well is going to be quite useful. But look at how much he's able to whittle this down already. He's just focusing so much on his multitasking, which I feel like is not as important right now, but I guess he forgot about those Corruptors. 10 more on the way, meanwhile. This is a risky place. The Tempests are getting really good shots.
Up. Getting some decent shots off there, and I think assuming he brings the rest of those Corruptors up, he's already got 8 more even being made right now.
Yeah, he's just not bringing them, though.
He should just gnaw through this.
He's not bringing them.
No.
Yeah, this is actually going to get targeted down.
Yeah, this is sort of weird because he actually had, a sufficient army, but with the Broodlord army, obviously you have to have everything else. I was so confident we were going to see the rest of the Zerg army kind of shoot onto the screen here, but. And keep in mind, guys, let's say all the Stalkers lived because that wasn't going to be stopped. At least he kills off all the Colossi and Tempest, and that's what's actually important. From there, you can make whatever you want, basically, and win the game.
You can make Roach Hydra to win the game after that.
Yeah.
But let's keep in mind the bank situation here. He just was able to remake like 8 Broodlords. He still has a bunch of Spines here, which he's repositioning. He has so much money. The Protoss, this is his last chance. This is Blaze's last chance here. Here come the Corruptors up the front. Blinding Cloud on all the Stalkers, plus those Spines coming down. This is not going to be a good fight. The Corruptor's taking out the last of those Colossi, and this gets pushed back. And now, Blaze lost his expensive units, like you said. +3 for Lings, for Broodlings finishing up here. He's getting the +1 armor for the Broodlords that have +3 attack. He's going to target this Nexus down with Lings.
Yeah, I think
he gets it this time.
Finally, that Nexus goes down.
And he burrows the Lings in their face as well. Splinking on the Spines and +3 Lings with these Stalkers that have no armor.
Yeah,
this is the end of this story.
We should see a tap out here. There's just no way to recover.
Spoiler alert, tasteless. MVP Blaze dies on page 420.
This is... Sleep moves on. Nicely done, Sleep. A well-deserved win. Blaze is... he didn't cut it, man.
Yeah.
I want to see all these guys do well. I really admire, how much practice it takes to be a pro, but unfortunately today, he was not qualified for Code S.
No, he was not.
He was not.
Sleep played a much better series. That last game was a bit shaky, but I have to say Sleep played incredibly well. His multitasking, his harass. The one thing he forgot was just to bring the last of his units with his army. But, he did so much harassment. And Blaze just simply couldn't do the rudimentary task of pushing a Roach off of his 4th base to make a 4th base. Like, he was clearly stressed. He was not playing his best in this game. And it was just a bit off overall.
Well, good luck to Sleep. He's got a very big mountain to climb there. Mount Everest and StarCraft to climb there, and GSL Code S. We'll see how he sizes up when his time comes there. Hopefully we'll see Blaze again. By the way, Blaze was known as Panic before. He just changed his ID. We were informed of this today.
Yeah. This is, one of the most exciting series of Code A, just based on the fact that it was, so back and forth at the same time. Not the best games we saw, so hopefully the next games we see will be a bit better.
Yeah, I hope so for that as well. We're going to go to a short break. When we return, we're going to go on to our next best of 5 here in the GSL Code A.